Welcome to the Reawaken You podcast. I'm Kate Parker, your host, an empowerment coach, author, and entrepreneur who's on a mission to help women reclaim their power and live life on their own terms. Here we dive into real talk about breaking free from the patriarchy, embracing your authentic self, and stepping into your full potential. We explore how societal structures have held women back and how you can rise above them to create a life that's truly yours. Through the lens of authenticity, queen energy, and legacy, you will hear inspiring conversations, actionable strategies, and unfiltered insights to support you on your journey of self-discovery and empowerment. So if you're ready for honest, no bullshit empowerment with a touch of sass, you're in the right place. Let's reawaken your power together. There's something sacred about the spaces that we create. Something personal, something powerful. And lately I've been reminded of just how much our environment does mirror our energy and how deeply it shapes the women that we're becoming. Some time ago, I decided that it was time to redesign my office. There was nothing particularly wrong with it. It worked. I had Zoom calls and Teams calls and all sorts of different meetings and breakthroughs with my clients and long afternoons of writing, quick stolen moments of clarity between my busy mother life and my business life. But it had been the same for 2 years, and I could feel that shift brewing within me. Something inside wanted to change. And so I listened. I began planning. I ordered some new lights. And I started shifting things around inside the office. My desk had always been in the middle of the room, which I loved, as I felt like I was in the center of my own little creative universe in there. But the room was small. The room is small. And it meant that the sofa sat directly in front of my desk. And it made things a bit tight and a bit awkward, cluttered. I mean, not wrong, but also it didn't feel quite right. So I moved it. I moved it all. I put my desk against the wall, something that felt oddly confronting at first. It changed the way that I sat, the way that I looked at the room, the way that the light hit my face in the morning. But as I shifted the furniture, I also felt something else shifting inside. I could now move the sofa into a different spot, and I could bring in a coffee table, and suddenly this isn't just a workspace anymore, it's now a sanctuary. A space for work, yes, but also a space for being, a space to sit quietly in the mornings with my journal, a cozy nook for my afternoon peppermint tea and little solo tea parties, a space where I can breathe more deeply and dream more wildly, and honour both the CEO and the writer within me. And so it got me thinking about how we don't always realise just how much our environment holds us or even holds us back. We can't sit in the same spaces surrounded by the same things, locked into the same patterns and expect to grow. We need movement and fresh air, new light, different textures. We need to feel different so that we can think differently. And that's what intentional spaces offer us. It's not just aesthetic pleasure, but it's an invitation into our own expansion. So here's what's really fascinating is that it's not just a nice idea that changing your space can change your life. There is actual psychology behind it. Environmental psychology tells us that the spaces we inhabit profoundly affect our emotions, our focus, habits, creativity, and even our sense of identity. Our brain is constantly scanning our surroundings for cues like, am I safe here? Is this inspiring? Is this space mine? And from those cues, our nervous system will then respond. So cluttered, chaotic, or overstimulating environments can lead to elevated cortisol levels, meaning more stress, more brain fog, and less capacity to focus or think clearly. And on the other hand, intentional, beautiful, and organised spaces, they activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the one that's responsible for calm and clarity and creativity. That's not just woo-woo, that's neuroscience. Studies have also shown that physical environments can shape our self-perception. A desk in the corner with no natural light might subconsciously make you feel like you're boxed in, unseen, or stagnant. But if you put yourself in a brighter room with a view or some artwork that moves you, and suddenly you feel different, you feel more expansive, more motivated, more you. In design psychology, there's a concept called environmental affordances. This is where the subtle signs in the space tell you what's possible. A cozy chair with a book beside it, it invites rest. A clear desk invites deep work. A hotel lobby with its elegant ambience invites you to step into your next level self. These spaces don't just serve you, they speak to you. And then there's biophilic design, which is the idea that humans crave connection to nature. Natural light, fresh air, wooden textures, plants. These things, they're not just aesthetically pleasing, they actually regulate our nervous system and improve our cognitive function. Which explains why we feel so much calmer after walking on the beach, or why an office with plants just feels better. In short, your environment is not neutral. It's either reinforcing your current reality or it's helping you shift into a new one. Some of my most sacred spaces are not just about design, they're also about how I feel. Art galleries, for example, well, they're one of my spiritual homes. The hush, the wooden floors, the stillness. There is something about being surrounded by creativity that isn't mine that brings me home to myself. And maybe it's my childhood. My parents owned an art gallery when I was young, and something about that must have imprinted in my bones, because in galleries, I feel grounded and present. I feel free from expectation. I feel so me. Libraries have that same kind of magic, but with a quieter pull. You wander, you follow threads. One moment you're looking at books on landscape design, and the next you're knee-deep in cross-stitch, psychology or poetry. There's no agenda, just curiosity. And curiosity is one of the most expansive states that we can live in. Cafés, on the other hand, are vibrant, bustling and full of life. I love the noise and the music and the energy. I recently worked on my magazine layout from a beachfront cafe while my daughter was at the skate park. And what normally feels like a bit of a hard slog, it felt fun, easy, even glamorous. I loved watching the people and hearing the clink of, cups against saucers, the jazz playing, the people talking, so much activity. And I could watch people, see how they're communicating. Sometimes it's not the task that needs to change, it's the energy around it. And then there's one of the simplest things in the most underrated environments, the hotel lobby. One of my old mentors, she used to tell us to go and sit in a hotel restaurant or foyer, even cafe if they have them. She said, you don't need to spend a cent. You just put your body into a high frequency space. And she was right. Hotel lobbies hold a different kind of energy. When you sit there, something shifts and you hold yourself differently. You think differently and you ask some better questions. Questions like, who is the woman who belongs in here? What does she think about? What does she dream of? What is it that she is calling in? Those spaces invite you to embody her. Not someday, but now. That's why redesigning my office has felt more than just a home project. It's been For me, it's been a quiet reclamation, a gentle, powerful shift, one that didn't even cost a fortune. It just took some thought and some time and a bit of intention. The books remain, the candles still flicker, the music still hums, but the light is different now, and the layout flows. The art on the walls has changed, and so have I. So if you're feeling stuck, or uninspired, or misaligned, don't force your mind to push through. Instead, you should ask, what is one small shift I can make in my environment that would make me feel more like myself? Because growth, it doesn't always come in the form of breakthroughs or epiphanies. Sometimes it's a desk against a new wall. Sometimes it's walking through a gallery or taking a seat in a lobby you're brave enough to belong to, or settling into a nook with a book and a beautiful cup of tea. Redesigning your environment is a declaration. I am making space for who I am becoming. And that does not require a renovation. It just requires your presence. That's it for today, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Reawaken You podcast. If you loved today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a new conversation. And if you're looking for even more inspiration and actionable insights, sign up for the Reawaken Quarterly magazine at www.reawaken-coaching.com. Reawaken Quarterly is your go-to resource for staying empowered, inspired, and on track with your personal growth journey. Packed with thought-provoking articles, practical tools, and powerful stories, it's the perfect companion to have by your side as you reclaim your power and create the life you desire. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, keep stepping into your power and owning your journey.